one motorcycle could define the term leisure in its absolute value, it has to be the Classic. Over the years, the 350 has been the most popular moniker with the Classic. For a brief period, the 500 also existed, but now it's time to welcome the latest in town, the Classic 650. How do you define a recipe of success? Let me give you an example. The tried and tested 648 parallel from Royal Enfield in between your legs, and a design that's quintessentially classic, which has been in sync with the market for long. That is the Classic 650 in simple terms. But let me break it down. How does it really feel on these twisties? I have ridden it fairly around 100 kilometers in the Ghat sections of Ooty, and here are my observations about this latest Royal Enfield. Of all the teams working behind to make this project successful, I think designers had a fairly easy job. And why not? The Classic 350 is already such a handsome looking motorcycle, ageless, timeless, and that ethos is being carried forward to this bigger sibling. Round LED headlamps with that signature pilot lamp and a hood that's full of chrome. It is metallic everywhere you touch. This chrome edition retails over 3.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom. Front is a 19-inch, rear is a 18-inch. The fuel tank is at 14.7 liters. Seat height is at 800 millimeters, and the main engine section between the double cradle frame is full of metal. What also sticks out from the 350 Classic is this twin exhaust on either sides, making this motorcycle look even more glorious. Well, in terms of features, you get all LED setup. The main instrumentation is that same old school analog meter. The main speed gauge is what takes the main portion of it. There's a small MID, and that displays a lot of information, which includes odometer, trip meter, your gear position. This motorcycle also has tripper, that's optional, and overall fit and finish level on this motorcycle is more than satisfactory. The attention to detail, if you look at closer parts, for example, the foot pegs, these handlebars, the levers, which are in fact adjustable in nature, everything I think maintains the consistency level. See, ergonomics are a familiar territory. It is more like the 350, however, the handlebar feels a little more wider. Now what it takes away is the infamous tag of being the heaviest Royal Enfield out there, 243 kilograms. But then it is only 800 millimeters of seat height, which means of my stature, however I put the motorcycle on double stand, I can still flat foot both my legs, and I think that's a great thing. Having said that, you will have a little bit of problem in tight moving crowded spaces. However, once on the move, this bike flows like none other. With more than half a dozen 650s from Royal Enfield, it might be difficult for you to make a choice. But then when it comes with a Classic tag, everything becomes much more simpler to have that decision-making factor. Now right in the middle is that tried and tested 648cc parallel twin, and this one makes same amount of power and torque. It's mated to a 6-speed gearbox, gets a slip and assist clutch, and that's it about hardware. It is that raw feeling of riding this motorcycle as if you are in symphony. And today, whatever I rode on these twisties, this motorcycle flows seamlessly, something that we have experienced with the 350. The handling on curves and these winding roads were excellent. I enjoyed my time out, but then the real test of this motorcycle will be in the cities, where bumper to bumper traffic will crop a lot of issues. The heating will be something that you have to take care of. And as we have seen the Classic 350, it is one of the hugely accepted motorcycle because it could do a lot of things all at once. Will this motorcycle be able to do that or not? Well, time will tell, and we can answer that in detail as we ride in our real life situation. Now the fuel tank is little short of 15 liters, and in real life you expect mileage to be around 20 to 22 kilometers to a liter, which means you have a cruising range of roughly 300 kilometers on single tank. I think that's fairly decent. That goes along with other Royal Enfield 650cc motorcycles. But then the main character of the engine is again that extreme amount of power right from the word get-go. Even slight twist of throttle, you have that torque surge, and that remains throughout the rev band. You can leisurely cruise, speeds of 80, 100, 120, come in a whisker, and even cruising at triple digits is quite a breeze for this motorcycle. But then you really don't want to rev it hard because vibrations tend to kick in. For example, when I was cruising at 4th gear 120, I could feel a little bit of buzz on the handlebars, foot pegs, and especially on the seat. Now this is how the classic 650 sounds when you twist the throttle, and I feel this is slightly mellow for classic standard, but then I think customization is the key. If you are buying this motorcycle, there is plenty of mod. You can go to Royal Enfield or you can access them aftermarket. Plenty of equipment are shared with a shotgun, be it the main frame, subframe, swing arm. Obviously the tire size are different. This one rides on 19 and 18, and there lies a similarity between how the classic 650 rides and how the Meteor is on the road. Both the motorcycles are lovely to flow in open straights and curves. Both the motorcycles have quite a long wheelbase. The Super Meteor's wheelbase is at 1500 millimeters, whereas this one is almost close, spanning at 1475 millimeter. And I think it might be a little difficult for you in day-to-day traffic, have good build to ride this motorcycle on a daily basis. Now, also a major difference between the shotgun and the classic 650 is the suspension setup. Both have 43 mm front suspension, but this one rides on telescopic, whereas the shotgun gets upside down. And I think it's not a big problem for classic 650. What might be problem for you is the suspension stiffness. On our roads where it can go really bad, you might feel that on your back and joints. However, you have 120 millimeter travel in the front and 90 millimeter travel at the rear. But I think this one, with overall weight, the kind of suspension setup, it might just feel a little too stiff for you. The ground clearance is just over 155 millimeter, and today I faced no difficulty gliding over speed breakers. However, tall road imperfections might scrape the underbelly. I'll be honest, I had a fair bit of apprehension before I rode the motorcycle, and that was in the department of braking. 243 kilos curb, 2 riders on this motorcycle, that mounts to almost 400 kilos on the move. But then, whatever I rode today, these brakes are sharp and they inspire a lot of confidence. Something that I felt was missing was a toe shifter, something that we have seen with the 350 Classic. Even with the tap of the toe, you can shift the gear, which is missing here. And I faced a little bit of difficulty in moving upshift and down with these heavy adventure boots. Now, starting at 3,37,000 rupees ex-showroom, this one does look like a proper classic, but feels more like a Super Meteor. And see, that's not a bad thing. It's fast but not lightning quick. It's heavy but manageable. But overall, the standards, the quality is really up there. I'm happy to report I had a very good time with the Classic 650 today. What are your thoughts about this latest Royal Enfield in town? Do let me know in the comments box below.